Hey everybody, welcome to our next exit. Well, I didn't die. That's a good thing. I'm still, or at least I think it is. I'm still alive, but I have no idea what happened here. All I've got is what I heard at the hospital. This happened a little over a week ago on a Sunday morning, and we have to leave our campground on Tuesday, 2 or 3 days later. All I remember is I got up early, got a cup of coffee. I was hooking up Tinker to her collar, and we were headed out to go for a walk and sip on my coffee. I remember getting lightheaded going down the stairs, but I remember the thought, well, that's okay. I'll just push through this and we'll go for a walk. And that's the last thing I remember till I kind of woke up. I was sitting in my chair, Pearl sitting over on the couch, and I said, where are we at? Why are we here? What's going on? I have no idea what happened. I'm still not totally convinced what happened. And I'm not totally convinced that I didn't pop off to Pearl last night. And this morning she got up and nailed me with a baseball bat or something. I mean, the back of my head, it hurts hard. It's getting better. But I just heard her retell her story. I recreated this picture from what I remembered hearing in the hospital. We just sat down and filmed, and Pearl told me her version of what happened. And I think I might have overdone it in the blood there around my head. I remember bleeding in the hospital quite a bit on all the sheets and the pillows and whatnot. And they kept putting stuff back here to protect their pillowcases. But except for that, that's pretty close to what it looked like that morning, I think. But let's let Pearl explain to you in her version of just what happened, what she saw. And then at the end, I think I'll talk a little bit about as you get up in our age, you get older, you get on Medicare, and exactly what parts of Medicare we purchased and when we purchased it, and kind of give you some ideas what you might want to do, and is it worth it? It is worth it. So let's see what Pearl has to say. So I heard you explain this once. You was telling Lance and Lisa what happened, and it kind of surprised me. I never really thought about it from your perspective.
It was very shocking. I'm standing in the kitchen, and I'm getting ready to go take a shower, and I turned around and looked out the windshield to see you and Tinker walking down the road a little ways.
Yeah.
I mean, not very far. And then I saw Tinker in the grass, and I thought, oh, she's going to get her feet all wet, then she's going to walk in the dirt, going to get muddy. So I better go get a bowl of water to take up to the front steps. So I went back and I got a bowl of water, and I turned and was taking the water out, and I didn't see you guys, and I thought, oh, he's already walked around the corner of the bushes. So I'm watching my water as I'm walking over to set it down at the steps, making sure I don't lose it or spill it. I set it down and I looked out the window, and here you are, just flat laying down on the ground, passed out. Just, oh, my heart fell.
You could tell I was passed out?
Well, you weren't moving. And the dog was trying to wake you up. She was at your face trying to give you kisses and wake up.
So what did you think if I'm passed out?
What did I think? I thought you probably had a heart attack and died. Your blood pressure is not stabilized right now. It scared the life out of me.
She thought I might even be dead. Could you see the blood out on the dirt then? Or?
Not until you woke up and you started asking me questions, and you turned, you asked me, you said, where are we? And I said,
you came outside and woke me up? Or
absolutely.
I came in?
No, I came outside to wake you up.
Okay.
You were not moving, period. So I came outside to wake you up, and I'm talking to you, and you're looking at me, and you're going, where are we? And I told you where we were, and you said, what are we doing here?
I remember that. I was sitting right here in this chair.
No, you were laying out on the ground out there. You were just barely coming to. I know. You were just barely coming to. And so anyway, I tried to talk to you and knew that you were confused, and I thought, oh my goodness, he hit his head hard. He's really been unconscious. So I finally get you rolled over a little bit, and that's when I see the blood puddle on the road and on the back of your head. And so I asked you to sit still for a few minutes, and you said, well, we're in the road, or you didn't say anything at that point. You just decided you're going to get up. And again, you got up too fast, and again, you passed out. This time, you landed on your right shoulder.
Here?
Yes.
Yeah, my elbow and my shoulder was sore.
Yes. And as I got you up that first time and we started to take a step, you were passing out again. But when you released me, you kind of pushed me. It's like shocked me. So I almost fell down. And at that point in time, I yelled, help! as loud as I could.
Because there's a lot of RVs parked around us.
Yes, but nobody heard a thing.
But is it probably 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, it was early in the morning, maybe 7:30ish, early in the morning. But it's just like, oh my goodness! So finally, I got you up the second time, and you literally had to hold on to my body and stand up. Walked you slowly over to the coach, got you inside, and got you set down. And I said, "I'm going to take you to emergency. I'm not going to emergency."
I can remember sitting here, and just all of a sudden we were in here talking.
Yeah.
I didn't know what.
So I let you talk as much as you could, asking all your questions. Where are we at? What are we doing? What have we done the last couple of days? How long have we been here? You know, you asked various questions because you were lost for several weeks.
Oh, no, not for several weeks.
Well,
oh, you mean the last few weeks I couldn't remember?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You could not remember who we saw, what we did, where we went. You could not remember anything.
Yeah. That was a weird feeling. I never passed out before.
It was
and you're sitting over there on the couch, and I can remember, where are we at? What are we even doing here?
Exactly.
And you told me, I said, why are we here? Why are we doing that?
Yes.
It was weird.
Yes.
And I remember you wanted to go to the hospital, and I didn't want to go. But then I could start feeling my head. It literally felt like somebody took a baseball bat and knocked me out with a baseball bat.
Well, you went from standing up like this to flat down.
Well, you didn't see me go down. Right?
There was no other explanation. You weren't wadded up like you fell slowly. You just were from standing to flat.
Yeah. The way my head was all cut up on the back, bleeding. But
yes,
the head bleeds a lot. The cuts weren't all that bad. I remember in the hospital they were talking about they had to put a couple of staples in.
Right.
And I thought, that means they're going to have to shave the hair away. And I thought, I might just, because I was still goofy, I might shave my whole head and be bald. I can go boondocking and I won't use any water.
No.
That's what I was thinking about when they're sitting there looking at that.
We're not going there.
But then he said, it's kind of like our choice. There's not enough skin to staple or something.
No. They finally looked at it a little bit more and decided because of all the rocks that you fell on and hit your head on the rocks, that it was just too many puncture wounds, that they didn't have enough skin to staple together anymore. So they better just let it
heal up by itself.
Heal it by itself. And it's doing a darn good job.
So I never dreamed of passing out. I don't know what. If I'd have seen you out there, that's what I would have thought, that you had a heart attack.
Exactly.
The way you described it and me not remember it, that's what you'd think. And it's probably like the ball game's over almost.
Yes, it was so shocking.
So we went to the hospital. They went to emergency.
Right.
And they took us in right away. There was no wait or nothing. They took us right into a room, did all their stuff, and
they hooked you up to so many monitors.
Yeah, CAT scans, a couple of CAT scans.
Oh, they did 2 CAT scans, absolutely.
Yeah. And but basically, he said, we don't know. We don't know what happened. They it boiled down to it might be my blood pressure medication, and the dosages might be wrong. Because I've been feeling lightheaded a little bit off and on ever since we left Yuma occasionally.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what, and they said maybe my allergy medicine might be interacting with the blood pressure medicine. Right, but he said basically it happens a lot. People pass out, they come in, and we never find what it is. That's where we ended up. But changed the blood pressure medication. They kept me overnight for observation. They didn't admit me in the hospital. I spent the night.
In emergency.
So I was there probably 32, 34 hours total. Maybe longer, a little bit longer than that, but not a lot. But that was a horrible spending the night in that hospital.
No sleep.
Yeah, yeah. But all things considered, it was an awesome hospital medical experience. The doctors were good. The nurses were pretty good.
Very good.
Most of them. And then we went back. They said, come back. The hospital had the hospital, the emergency room, and they have a walk-in clinic. All in the same.
Oh.
So they gave me a brand new blood pressure medication, which seems to be, I'm not feeling lightheaded as much, but my blood pressure hadn't totally come down.
Right.
They increased the medication. They said come back in a week to the walk-in clinic, and we'll double check. They increased the medication just a little bit. Thousand Trails let us extend our maximum stay of 2 weeks during the summer here at the Seaside. They let us go to 3 weeks, so we got to stay here another week. And totally free, obviously, and
that lady that inside in the office there.
She was real nice.
Oh, she was so incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
She just really, really did a good job.
But I had to have this pretty good place to happen. But I think being on Medicare, that's the advantage in our Part G Medigap insurance. Lets you go anywhere that Medicare is accepted. All of those rules fall into place.
Right.
So we think, let me show the screen again, I'll kind of go over this, that we're going to get out of this with zero, having to pay zero. Let me kind of walk through this. We hadn't got our bill yet. I've looked and it's not on the website yet. We have an account with them. But I'm thinking we're going to pay zero.
I hope you're right.
But the total bill is probably, I bet you it's north of 25 or 30 grand. I don't know that.
I would not think it would be that.
You don't think so? Spending the night?
No. No.
It's going to be more than we could afford to pay.
Yeah. But
so we'll see. That'll have to be another video. I'll check it again today. But that was it. Just out of the clear blue. It could happen to you if you was younger.
Wait a minute. It wasn't out of the clear blue. You got dizzy when you picked up the dog and decided to walk her outside.
I get dizzy every time I look at you, sweetie.
And you thought, I'll just walk through this.
Yeah, I do. I do have the memory of getting up, getting a cup of coffee, walking down the steps to take the dog for a walk and getting dizzy. And thought, I'll just push through. That happens occasionally, and I'll sit down for a minute or two, and it goes away. And I decided to push through it. So I think the doctors are right. I think that's probably what it was. I don't know. But anyway, that's what we're hoping for. And we'll let you know in the next video.
If you've got any dizziness whatsoever, slow down and wait.
Okay. That's once again some more good advice from my sweet wife. But what I want to explain is this: I do understand a little bit, at least for us, is Medicare and the importance of signing up for it when you turn 65 or shortly thereafter. Because there can be penalties and stuff if you don't sign up right away. If you're like me, you work somewhere, you got insurance through work, and your insurance is just there. Whatever it is, that's what you sign up for, that's what you pay, and you go to the doctor and see what it costs. But Medicare, you got to figure it out all on your own. So in a nutshell, I think I can make this fairly simple. Medicare's got 4 parts. Part A, B, C, and D. Part A is your hospital. And that's free. There's no monthly or annual fee or nothing. But every time you go in the hospital, you get checked in the hospital, you have a $1,600 deductible. We haven't, neither one of us had to get checked into the hospital since we've been retired. So Part A has been totally free and no expense. But I got a feeling, what if it gets checked into a hospital, that $1,600 is going to look pretty sweet because it's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Part B, that's your doctor and the procedures he does. And that costs you, I think it's about $180, something like that a month. But in a year, and it comes right out of your Social Security check. So it costs us $2,100 each a year. These numbers are each for me, and then duplicate that for Pearl, double it for Pearl. So it's $2,100 a year, and you have a $240 deductible. Once you pay the $240, Medicare pays 80% of whatever the doctor charges. Part C, that can vary from anything from zero. You might even get paid to take out a Part C, because I'm not even going to try to explain it. But that's your Medicare Advantage programs, and if you live in a town and you can join a group of doctors with a hospital and stuff, and go to just those designated providers, you can get it. You can get paid for it. You can get it for free or just a little bit, depending on what all is included. Medicare has no dental or no vision. So sometimes the Part C, your Medicare Advantage, might even have dental and or vision. So that's totally up to you and which plan you pick. You can, a lot of varieties depending on where you live. And then Part D, that's your prescription drugs. And for Pearl and I, we took the Walmart policy. It's Humana Walmart policy, and it's $50 per month. Started out at $35, but it goes up for inflation every year. So now we pay $50 a piece. And then Pearl gets a couple of prescriptions every month. It costs her $10. I get one, and it costs me $1, $2, $3, just kind of depends. And instead of the Part C, we took a a thing, Medigap insurance, and we took plan, not part, but plan G, and that cost me $2,600 a day and change, and cost Pearl $2,600 and change. And what that means is because Medicare pays 80% of almost all of your medical expenses. Anything, any procedure or medical expense that Medicare will pay for and accepts your claim and pays, they pay 80%. I got to pay 20%. Well, our Plan G will pick up that 20% minus the deductible, the $240 a year. I got to pay that, but then Plan G picks up the 20%, and we pay nothing. So far, all we paid is our Part B annual fee of $2,100, our Part D of $600, and our Plan G of $2,600 a year, and our deductible $240, and then the little bitty copays that we pay on our prescriptions. Total of, for me, $5,300 plus the copays on the insurance, the $240 plus my prescription drugs. So it cost me right at just under $6,000. Same thing with Pearl, $6,000 for our medical insurance is $6,000. That's the simple version. One thing to keep in mind is you need to get these when you turn 65 or shortly thereafter, weeks and or a month or two. And it lets you get a couple of things. One is you can't be denied. I think no matter what your situation is, you can't be denied for your coverages. So if you get it right away, we didn't get our Plan G for a couple of years. So we had to submit some medical information, fill out some forms, and we paid a little bit higher price. And the same thing with your drugs. If you don't get your drug policy right away, they'll jack up the price a little bit. So you want to do it pretty quick, and you want to take the physical you get pretty quick, at least in my opinion. I'm not an expert. This is just kind of what it cost us, how I understand it. But to give you guys a rough idea, because most of you folks are in your 60s, and you're probably coming right up on Medicare age. So those are our numbers. Times 2, because there's 2 of us. I pay $6,000, Pearl pays just under $6,000, Pearl does too. Oh, and one thing that definitely I need to point out, the reason we didn't get the Part C, you have to join the network in your community, your town, or your state possibly. But if you travel, you're not covered when you go out if you can't get to that hospital or can't get to that doctor. So that only works, those are great deals it seems like, but it only works if you're generally home. The Medigap, as I mentioned, it works anywhere that takes Medicare. So whether in New York City or Portland, Oregon or Miami, Florida, it's all the same. If they take Medicare, then your insurance kicks in and pays. And then one last question is here on the Part A for the deductible in the hospital. Quite often they don't admit you right away. They'll put you in the hospital for observation. So if you're only in there, I don't totally understand how long, a day or maybe 2 days, you're not admitted. It comes as an outpatient. So the $1,600 deductible for Part A, I don't think that's going to be a factor, because what I understood is I wasn't admitted, I was there under observation. So just something to consider, a little bitty highlight on how Medicare works, and just do a little research and see what works best for you. So that kind of wraps it up. I think we're all good to go. We leave here in just a couple of days. I'm back to doing my walking. I generally walk about 4 or 5 miles a day, or at least 4 or 5 days a week. I'm going to do my first one of those walks tomorrow. We're back to normal, and hopefully, as you can see, we're paying more on insurance than our bills are. Hopefully it stays that way the rest of our lives. Hopefully we don't ever come out ahead on that and we just keep minimal bills. But you can't live on hope. So that pretty much covers it, folks. Till we see you guys again next time. Keep the wheels rolling. Stay safe. We'll see you at the next exit. Bye-bye, everybody.